We are live. Welcome to today's episode of MicroConf On Air. As always, I am your host, Rob Walling. Every Wednesday, we live stream for 30 minutes and we talk about topics related to building and growing ambitious SaaS startups that don't require us to work 80-hour weeks, raise millions in venture capital, burn ourselves out, or burn our relationships. These are not the typical Silicon Valley startups where fundraising is a goal and where people build slide decks instead of building businesses. Thanks for joining us again this week. I'm stoked to talk to my guest today, Sumit Kumar. I'll intro him in just a minute. And I got to be honest, I'm really excited about MicroConf Remote, which is coming up next Tuesday. And we have locked in Jason Fried, who's going to be answering questions about the Hey.com launch, as well as Squadcast, a tiny seed company. They're going to be talking about how they blew past $100,000 in MRR over the past several months. So there's a story for every stage of your startup, whether you are at your first sale, 1K MRR, 10K, 100K, or base camp levels of revenue. And I am really excited about it. If you don't already have your ticket, you want to go to microconfremote.com and check it out. It's going to be a pretty fascinating experience. And we have a live studio here in Minneapolis where I'm going to be broadcasting, going to have some live guests, going to have some remote guests. This is not your typical virtual summit with a bunch of people in a Zoom room. So I really hope you can tune in and check it out, microconfremote.com. So in today's episode of MicroConf On Air, I'm going to be talking with Sumit Kumar about building multiple products side by side. He has a B2B product and he has a B2C product, and he works a full-time day job. So these are both side projects. So Sumit is the founder of Tresor.one, and I'm mispronouncing that because it's a German word, Tresor, I think it is, Tresor.one. And he's the founder of geomon.io. And he's also the head of engineering, his day job, head of engineering at sharenow.com. So Sumit came on our radar because he is a prolific Twitterer and YouTuber, and he's talking about his side projects. There's a recent tweet where he said, on my indie hacker's journey, I'm now approaching between 3,000 and 5,000 euros a month with two side projects. Anyone can grow their projects to a nice side income, but of course it takes time. And I'm just really excited to dig in with him today because, you know, there are only so many makers in this world, and there are only so many people doing it on the side, and there's only so many people doing SaaS, and there's only so many people that get to launch. And he's launched two products on the side while working this day job. And he and his partner have just had a baby 15 days ago. So we very well may hear from that lovely addition to our world in the background as we talk to Sumit. So let's welcome Sumit to the program. How you doing, sir?
Hello, thank you very much. I'm good. Thanks for the invite, Rob.
Absolutely, man. Great to have you on. Are you getting ample sleep these days with a 2-week-old baby in the house?
Yeah, it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough. The nights, I basically sleep every 3 hours for 2 hours or something like this.
Yep. I appreciate you taking the time to get caffeinated and join me on this live stream today. Then.
I have to tell my partner. Yeah, I will tell her.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So if you are in MicroConf Connect, go to the MicroConf On Air channel and fire up your questions. That's the best part of these live streams is, you know, obviously Sumit and I can have an amazing conversation, but it might as well just be a recorded podcast that you can listen to at 1.5x if you're not interacting and asking live questions from the folks who are really, you know, who are deep in the trenches here. So we'll get into, you know, a little more into it, but hopefully there's some live questions that come out of that. So I want to ask, well, let me give a little bit of background. So geomon.io is a B2B side project, and it's you can create GeoJSON directly on a map. So the best way to do it is go to geomon.io and kind of see these amazing animated GIFs he has. But it's a developer tool for embedding like geospatial tools in your app. It's a B2B app selling to developers. And then Tresor.one is essentially stock portfolio management. And it's aimed at the German market. Is it aimed at all of Europe or mostly the German market, Sumit?
Currently, German market will expand soon.
Yep. And so this is more of a B2C play. The pricing's a lot lower. I think it's like there's a free plan and there's a €5 a month plan. And Sumit was explaining to me before we jumped on that, in the States, we have these portfolio management tools. You can OAuth, and there's an API, and I can gather all, from all my brokerage accounts into one place. But in Germany, they don't have that. They don't have APIs. So he is literally parsing PDF statements that people get in order to try to give them a complete picture of their portfolio. So those are the problems that he's solving. And Sumit, I'd love to kick it off by finding out, how long have you been working on these two tools? Did Geomon come first?
Geoman was first, but not in its, let's say, current iteration where it makes money. Geoman, I can tell you a little bit about the background, but Tresor, I started in January, basically, and I started sharing it exactly from the beginning. Geoman is kind of a mixed bag. I tried since many months, since beginning of last year, to make it into a SaaS product, which failed. But now I think I found kind of product market fit with some stuff.
Mm-hmm. Is it subscription now? Is it SaaS, or is it a one-time?
Yes, it's an annual subscription, but I don't sell a SaaS product. I sell basically a license to a software, so it's a little bit different than the normal SaaS product that you would know.
Sure, and it's annual. Got it. And so if you pay, what's the pricing on it, Geomon?
Currently the price is 10K a year, but I started with like 10 euros a month. And that to me, that is kind of an interesting strategy that I took because I didn't know how to price it completely. So I said, whenever I get one client, I double the price. So now I'm at 10K.
Nice. And so that means you've sold at least one license at 5,000 euros a year.
Yes.
Excellent. Good for you.
I also sold already one with 10K, but I didn't
double to 20.
It was just 2 days ago. Yeah, I didn't double it yet. It's getting a bit big.
Yeah, that's great. And so Geomon, when did you start working on that then? When did you start launching these side projects?
So Geoman started off as not a product that I wanted to sell at all. So I did an open source library for Leaflet, a Leaflet plugin. So you can edit geospatial data on the map, like polygons and markers and whatnot. And this was 5 years ago because I needed a tool for actually my current employer that I built on the side. And there was nothing out there that fit my expectations. So I built it on my own. And since 5 years, I'm maintaining this open source project. And it got more popular. It got more users, more collaborators. And at some point, I wasn't able to, let's say, it was more of a burden. I felt I let the people down if I don't fix the bugs and keep more releases coming. So I tried to find a way to make this sustainable, to be able to put more time in by getting some money out of it in some way. So I started GitHub sponsors. I tried with buy me a coffee stuff. I tried to make a SaaS product that basically, so you can edit and store your geospatial data on Geoman.io. That didn't work out, but I think there's still potential there. I just did it wrong. So what I did instead now is I just took the open source library, looked at what people are writing me for the features, and took the nichest features that they were requesting. So very specific features that were for very specific companies. And I said, look, I will build them, but not for open source. I will build them in a pro version. And this pro version, I'm selling basically a license for. And my plan currently is, and what I'm doing is, slowly I'm trickling these features down into the open source library. So the open source library benefits in the long run, but in the meantime, I get some income in, can focus on these features, and can sell it to some companies.
Yeah, it's a clever way to do it. And I think it's nice that you kind of hacked your way around, because the open source thing can become a real burden. I know I've had several friends and colleagues who have launched open source products, and it's great for 6 months or a year. And then it's like, man, I have to maintain this, and this sucks. And so the fact that you have turned it into a revenue stream, I think, is beneficial both for you, but also for your community, in the sense that you're able to justify the time that you spend on it. It reminds me of Sidekick, which is a queuing mechanism, and we used it at Drip extensively, and it was free, until it wasn't. And when I forget what even, it was quite expensive. It was like $3,000 or $10,000 or something per license. And we wound up using it and paying happily for it. And I don't think we got any extra features. I think it was purely for support or something like that, but it was just worth it. The whole business ran on it, all the underlying code base. Yeah. So it becomes worth it at that point. So then in talking, about these side projects, back in the day when I was launching side projects 15, 20 years ago and was still employed full-time, I was really concerned that my employer would find out and that I would get in trouble, or they would try to take ownership, or I would get fired. I mean, I just don't even know. I was just kind of paranoid about it. But obviously you're relatively public because you have this YouTube channel, you have the Twitter feed. Does your employer know, the side projects you're working on, and do they care that you're working on them?
So they know. I'm actually not concerned about my boss or his boss finding out or knowing about this. I'm more concerned or worried in a way sometimes about my employees. So I lead a big team at my employer. So I'm more thinking sometimes what do they think. But I know that my boss's boss and his colleagues, some of them are even users of Tresor.one. I saw that, and Geoman came out of the open source library, and that open source library is also used inside the company. So everyone knows that I'm doing this. Some people are scratching their head how I find the time, but everyone knows. And personally, I think as developers, we don't have problems finding a job, right? And it's currently not at all. And if my employer would not like it, then it wouldn't be a good employer for me, because I think I learned the most in these side projects by approaching new problems, by solving new things, and looking also outside of the developer problem per se, because I have to do business stuff, sales, marketing, user, customer support, all that kind of stuff. And I think this makes us better developers, better people to work with. And if an employer doesn't appreciate that, then it's not the employer for me. So I'm not scared at all, actually, for that.
I think that's a great way to think about it. I'm curious if one of your employees that you manage was working on side projects and making money from them. How would you feel about that?
I'm actually I'm high-fiving them whenever I see someone do having an achievement or a milestone. So multiple people are working on side projects. We are actually encouraging them. We are giving them a bit of time to do side projects, even for us or for them, so they learn or whatever. And if they generate some money out of it, I'm the first one that says, "Well done, it's a great job."
Well done. Yeah. Very cool. We were talking offline right before we jumped on the stream, and given that Geomon is a high, an expensive or more expensive B2B product versus Tresor, which is a inexpensive B2C, I would guess that Geomon is much more successful than Tresor. Would you like to talk us through that? And if you're willing, you had mentioned in your tweet you're approaching between 3 and 5K euro per month. I'm wondering what the breakdown of that is between the two products.
Yeah. So this was actually the first month where let's say the payout through Stripe is higher than my salary, and the breakdown is basically €1,000, a little bit over €1,000, 1,200 from Tresor.one, and the rest is from Geoman. And from Geoman, it's basically, there are still clients that pay like 100 a month, and then there are clients that pay 5,000 or 10,000 a year. And this, of course, I don't have that much clients in Geoman right now. Like I get 1 or 2 clients per month. And if I continue to get 1 client per month, then I have enough monthly recurring revenue if I do this for one year or something. What I did now is, so it looks good from the past months, but I haven't done any sales for it at all. Like the companies just come to me and simply buy it or ask me how to purchase it. So what I did now is I partnered with the salesperson that actually goes out and sells it. So the good part is that most of the work is already done. It's not a typical SaaS product where I have to work on it every day. I can basically start to scale the sales part now.
Yeah, and that's a nice place to be. I'm curious, if Geomon is doing so well compared to Tresor, like why not just focus on Geomon and
Mhm.
grow that? Because I mean, it's obvious that there's demand and it could be a great business. I mean, Sidekick is like $1 million, multi-million-dollar revenue business. I think Geomon could have potential to do that, but without focus, if you're splitting your time, I'm not sure that it will. So, what's your thinking there?
Yeah, I'm spread very thin, and I have the same thoughts sometimes. It's still a problem that really excites me, especially because a lot of deep work is required. Like it's for example, the feature that I'm currently building is a completely new algorithm to split polygons. It's very niche, very focused.
Yep.
And I know that in this niche, I sometimes have actually the best solutions out there, which I really
Yep.
like to do, honestly. But
Yep.
on the other hand, building cash flow, building a business, getting out of the rat race, as we say in this community, um, I'm focusing also on investing and getting, some dividend income, cash flow. And like through this whole journey, I'm actually convinced that people need to get some financial education in school. We don't have this in Germany. People don't know how the stock market works, what a dividend is,
Mhm.
etc. You do this on your own. And this is a mission I'm so much more behind. And I have much, much more users in the B2C world, of course, much more feedback. There's so much momentum behind it that I'm actually more excited about solving that problem. I think it also has a lot of potential, but it's more work and everything.
Yep.
So if someone would make me decide right now, I would probably go for Tresor.one and let Geoman let me help with people. I will get some people for help, which is what I'm
Mhm.
actually doing with the salesperson and also some developers that I asked to help out. I know it can grow much bigger, but it's not just about the money for me, at least currently.
Yeah. Right. It's about interest and personal growth. It sounds like we have a question from YouTube. Harish asks,
Mhm.
"How do you decide which product to work on?"
So the default is basically Tresor.one, and um, there are sometimes clients that require additional work, and I'm then focusing on that. But again, I'm partnering with freelancers right now to take over some of the work at Geoman, and also to contribute more to the open source library. So I'm paying them because again, the income is quite good, and I can basically do profit sharing to some other people and still have something for myself, and they can grow that and build that. So for Geoman, I actually feel like a lot, like very much in control, while at Tresor.one, it's growing faster than I can keep up with it, with the features and the support and everything. So the default is Tresor.one because I'm getting dozens, if not hundreds, of messages and emails per day. While at Geoman, I get an email a month, and then
Hmm.
I answer it, and that's it.
Right. Right. Cool. We have another question from YouTube from Happy Leaf, and they ask, when doubling your pricing after each new client, what happens when churn occurs?
Good question. Didn't happen yet.
No churn.
It's
Nice.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's comparable to regular SaaS
Sure.
products. Where in
Yeah.
Tresor.one, I have big churn, of course, but if you know in these kind of businesses, so clients like whatever Microsoft or these huge clients, when they decide on a map library, they use this for many years. There's no reason to go away. And if they
Yep.
decide to not use my library or my plugin anymore and use a different one, um, that's completely fine. I'm currently not reliant on this revenue because I have a day job. Um, I'm basically looking where it can go, where I can grow it, basically on the side of the side project, where I can grow it and where I can go. And if churn occurs, I would of course try to find out why. What happened? Is it features missing? Is there a competitor coming out that is better? Whatever it is, but it didn't happen yet, so it's not a problem I need to solve right now.
Yeah, and I think maybe his underlying question is, do you cut your pricing in half when someone churns? And I'm
Ah,
guessing the answer is no,
that
because
is
it's
a
sort of
good
the
question.
opposite.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so doubling the price was always like it sounds ridiculous. When I first started, I asked the open source community, "Would you pay like $30 a month?" And everyone said, "No, hell no."
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna start with something." So I started. There wasn't a client for a very long time. I started to build pro features, and at some point they started coming in, and um, now with 10K a year, I said to myself, I will double it again when I get 5 clients. So I will not do it from the first client. And the only reason why go so big with these companies is because I know the enterprise world a little bit, and I see what companies are buying this. So if
Mhm.
you put your product in that a company like Microsoft buys for 1,500 per year or something, that's a joke to
It's way too
them.
cheap.
And actually,
Yeah.
they consider you much more serious if you go later 4 digits or even 5 digit prices.
Absolutely. And that's one of the biggest mistakes that developers make when they build a powerful product that's being used by a Fortune 1000 company is those companies, the difference between $5,000 and $50,000 is almost a rounding error. They in general, they don't actually care if it's a fundamental piece. They are way more concerned about the service level agreement, the fact that you stay in business, if they're going to embed it in their app. There's all these things that are much more important and much more expensive to them than tens of thousands of dollars. And so
Yeah.
a lot of advice we give in the tiny seed batches is the moment that Verizon or Target knocks on your door, you are talking minimum 25 grand a year and usually 50 grand a year just to make it worth their procurement process, because they're going to put you through such
Mhm.
pain to become a vendor, and you're going to sign so many custom contracts, and they're going to redline your terms of service, and there's all this stuff that it's just not worth doing from your perspective for 1,000 or often even $10,000 a year.
Yeah. And
So
everything
I'm
behind
curious.
Human is very, very manual. Like I put a license in place, but the distribution behind it, etc., it's so manual. And I'm waiting until someone demands more. I'm waiting until someone comes, look, we need a private NPM registry to install this. No, no, no. No one comes. So as long as it works like this, I'm continuing, but I'm ready when a company comes in and says, look, we need this for 10 applications, and we need a proper distribution channel. We need this and that and some support,
Mhm.
and you need to come in and onboard our teams. I'm ready for that, but that didn't happen. They just buy and go off with it, which is fine by
Mhm.
me.
So I'm curious, given that the Geomon is quite successful, but you kind of have it on autopilot on the side, and you're really passionate about Tresor. I've been in that position, by the way, where I've had multiple apps, and I kind of really want to do one, and some of them I shut down, some of them I sold, and I'm wondering why not sell Geomon? Because if it's, I'll throw some numbers out. If it's doing 4 grand a month, averaging 4,000 euro a month, and most of that's profit, that's about 48,000 a year. SaaS or subscription stuff will sell at about 3.5 times, the annual revenue or annual net profit is really what it is. So let's just say it's around 130, 160,000 euro that you could feasibly
Mhm.
sell it for. So why
Mhm.
not do that and take the money and either, put it in dividend producing stocks like you're doing, or invest it into Tresor, or start a college fund for your 2-week old.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a good question. So I actually got more acquisition offers for Tresor.one and also much higher ones at that. But I basically said no to everything, and I would say no to Geoman as well, because um, let's say I get 500K, or maybe 500K is already at the upper limit, but let's say 200K for one of these products. It wouldn't change my life. It wouldn't at all. I would invest it for my daughter or for me. Maybe I would, I would be able to have a runway to work on these side projects for like 2 years without
Mm-hmm.
without having a full-time job. But it wouldn't change my life at all. What I want to do is I want to build these side projects up, and I'm currently on a good path to be able to fund me that I can do whatever I want. I can work today, I cannot work today, I can work for an awesome company that I'm interested in, or I can do open source work or whatever it is. And this kind of freedom I want to build up. I agree that when I sell it, I might have some runway to do that, or to focus more on that. But these two products currently, my heart is on them. I put a lot of effort on them. And I think both of them have the potential to be that driver of freedom, let's say. And if someone gives me $1 million or 2 million, that might be life-changing for me, because then the dividends alone will pay for my bills if I invest that. But with 100 or 200K, it doesn't change much for me. I'm rather interested in the cash flow that I can build up in actually building this. It's just too much fun to give it up for a lower six figure.
Low six figures, yeah. Well, you're in a good spot if you're saying that. It's just too much fun. I love that. That's a great quote from you.
It is.
I'm curious on Tresor, like since it is B2C and it's free and €5 a month, obviously you can't be running Facebook ads or Google ads because you wouldn't make any money on the folks. I'm curious, what's your best source of new leads or new customers for Tresor?
Yeah, that's a good question also. So I looked at what competitors are out there, and regarding pricing, when I get up to speed with the features, I definitely will increase pricing a little bit, but I probably won't go over €10 a month. It depends on the features. So currently, it's word of mouth. It's the communities where people that take care of their financial education are at. They share it basically. So I'm invested in these communities. I'm posting a little bit, but the people, especially in Germany, are very, very reluctant. I cannot just go in there and share Tresor.one, because they will see that there is a pro plan or a plus plan that costs money, and they will say this is advertising. So I need to rely on word of mouth. And actually, I'm very happy that growth is accelerating, and I have awesome users, very engaged users that I feel like they simply want to support me. They contribute to the open source part. I open sourced a part of it, and people are working with it. They are, helping me make the data better, get better quality data, reporting bugs. I'm on Slack with some of them. I just used Circle.so, just recently launched for a new community. People coming in, helping each other out. Again, it's such a vibrant, engaged community. And I feel, everyone is just in there and wants this to succeed because it's a good product for them. And this is such a huge motivation for me that, I could work on it 25 hours a day. It's great.
That's awesome, man. It's so nice to have a project that you're that excited about, so that it's a passion project and it's a hobby and it's a side project, but it's also something that is making you money and really over time can make you hopefully a lot more. And if your mission is that aligned with it, it's really
I hope so too.
It's unique.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely want to get a little bit more into the education space so I can lower the barrier of entry into investment for young people. Because if you start investing in your 20s, like this can really change your life when you're 40 or something. So I want to lower the barrier of entry. I want to make it as easy as possible, understandable, automated, and regarding the money that comes in, I hope at some point when I reach some sort of critical mass with the user base, the money is not coming from the users, but actually through the brokerages. If I can include some buy and sell buttons, for example, so they can buy stock or sell stock, and I go to them, and then it's a commission game. So this would be a completely different revenue source and a much higher one at that, I think.
Indeed. Well, sir, you're a man after my own heart. I am a big fan of investing and financial education. And, here in the US, we're in a similar spot where people are not taught this in school and you kind of got to learn it on your own. So, Sumit, thank you so much for joining me today, man. I really appreciate you taking the 30, 40 minutes to hang out with us. I'm sure the MicroConf Connect community and the on-air community appreciates it as well. On Twitter, you are Tweets of Sumit. Everyone should follow you. They can see it on the screen there. And I wish you the best of luck as you continue to dive into these products. Thanks for joining.
Thank you very much, Rob. Thanks. It was really fun.
Yeah, it was good having you. All right, as we wrap up, MicroConf Remote, I mentioned it already at the top of the show, but another speaker we have is Colleen Johnson, the co-founder of Scatterspoke, talking about the grueling and exciting journey to $10,000 in MRR. And throughout the MicroConf remote show, we live stream for about 5 hours. We're going to be asking the question, what is one thing I can do today to make a meaningful improvement on my business? And we are going to be having outside folks, a lot of names you know, a few you don't, that are going to be weighing in on that. Thank you to Hey.com and Stripe for being our headline partners for the year. They make everything we do just a little easier, and we are over the moon to be partnered with Hey and Stripe. If you have not already, head to youtube.com/microconf. You can hit that subscribe button to be notified about our future videos like this one, and you can hear this episode tomorrow on our podcast feed. So thank you so much for joining us every Wednesday, and I'll see you again next week, same time, same place.